Hey, what's up? The sun's out, and I was just doing this little like singing like karaoke and stuff like that, and I was thinking about the whole thing of being scared of failure. I was listening, or, like singing, whatever, to "Scared of My Guitar" by Olivia Rodrigo, and I was thinking about being scared of failure, and it's one of those things that I grew up in complete and utter terror of. I was doing anything I could to not fail, or anything I could to almost like skirt by, or not like ruffle any feathers or any of that stuff. One of the biggest reasons why I didn't talk to any of my friends or any stuff about when I went through loss and all this stuff is because I was scared of being a burden. It ties into that whole fear of failure, fear of like causing other people stress or doing stuff to where it other people have to deal with you essentially. And it's one of the biggest things that kept me or almost like held me back growing up. It felt like anytime I did anything somewhat wrong or whatever, I would beat myself up about it, or I just really hated myself in a lot of ways. Like it was really like self critical and self whatever about just the things about like, oh, I'm just tiny, skinny. I'm like, I can't do this right, I can't do that right. I'm not good enough at this, that, and third, and not even smart enough, or not even any of this stuff. Like I wasn't enough in any aspect growing up. And second, started losing stuff, going through depression, numbness, all this stuff, which is its own thing in its own right. The fear of failure kind of disappeared little by little, and over time now I kind of just do things to the point where it's like actively the opposite of what I did as a kid. But it was one of those deals that even through numbness and all that stuff, I had to kind of like face or whatever because when it's so ingrained into who you are, it's tough to like get that out of like to like rewire your brain or mind and all that stuff. And I think it's one of those things that a lot of people share because I think it boils down to not wanting to fail for like parents or coaches, teachers, or siblings or whatever, like you kind of had that failure. Like you, at least for me in my life, like parents so busy and all that stuff that it's like I felt like if I did anything wrong, I was screwing them or doing this and that. So I had to like be pretty perfect in what I was doing in a lot of ways. And when I wasn't, which was pretty much all the time, I'd beat myself up or whatever. And it was I don't know. It was one of those things that over time I was just like, I can't even have this fear of failure anymore because I have to try new stuff. Like after the loss, all stuff, going through depression, I'm just like, for me, I was like, I have to try new stuff or I'm stuck feeling nothing and have no hope. That's the biggest thing. Like, sure, I felt nothing for a great majority of the last 5 years, but at least I've done stuff to where I have hope that I won't in the future in certain aspects. And obviously, the biggest one is love and all that stuff, but whatever. But when it comes to like the stuff I'm doing, career and where I live and all that stuff or whatever, that kind of stuff, like trying stuff or doing whatever, that kind of stuff. To be honest, failed a ton, like an aggressive amount of failure has been my 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. It's been full of failure. So like what I'm saying about like being scared of it, if I was scared of it, I couldn't be here. Like I just wasn't like even as just it's just not a thing that could be possible. Like I needed to not be scared of it in order to do this stuff because it's one thing to do the thing and then you overcome and you're like oh whatever and it's great and all that stuff. It's another thing when you fail, do a thing, and then when you do the thing when you like kind of like when you do the thing, it ends up feeling worse than what you originally were, what life was before what you did. Like when I went out and do the move, or when I don't know experiences I had with like love and all that stuff, where you tried it when all this stuff, and then you got rejected and all this stuff, and then you go back to worse than you even were before. And there's a lot of that kind of stuff to where it's like that kid. I feel like if I was thinking in the way that I was as a like pretty much my entire life up until losing parent or whatever, I probably would have given up in certain aspects. It's the fact of that I'm kind of almost addicted to failure and addicted to doing to like messing up or falling short because the fact that I know what it does. Or like I've kind of in my own life I've kind of learned to like appreciate it because what it does is it gives you opportunity to almost like it's like in a video game where you unlock like a new like a where you unlock like a new weapon or like a new like world or whatever Super Mario. Like it's like you just unlock a new aspect of life, whether that's like oh, it could be as simple as like trying like a new food. Like oh, I just tried Indian food and I didn't have that before, so now oh I can try all this. It's or it could be like oh I never thought about living here, but I tried there and I was like you know I like this. Maybe I'll go there. It's all that kind of stuff that helps you kind of at least for my case. I'll just keep reiterating that. In my case, it helps a ton because when you don't when you don't have hope, when you when you feel numbness, feel all that stuff, and you don't have hope, when failure kind of traps you and keeps you from doing it stuff, and you're so scared of messing up, it's like asking to be in a really tough spot mentally, like a very very tough, like a very not good spot, because you're already trapped in a feeling, and if you're being trapped in a feeling, and you're not trying any stuff, trying or doing any stuff to change it. Then what do you expect? Like, how do you even have hope if you're not doing anything to change how you're feeling? Like, you're just gonna keep feeling the same way. So it's one of the biggest reasons why I encourage failure in myself and when I talk to people or do anything is I'm like, because if you don't fail, how do you learn or grow or expand or do any stuff? And how do you expect your life to change in any way if you don't fail, if you don't put yourself in situations to where you can fail? And that's what I was thinking. Like, I barely grew throughout high school or like middle school, high school and stuff because I wasn't challenging myself. I wasn't trying or doing this stuff. Now, call a spade a spade. I don't know. I'm trying to think back. There's not a crazy amount of areas. There's stuff that I probably could have done, but looking back, like whatever. Even with hindsight, I'm like, okay, dad died at 19. If I was trying stuff and doing all that stuff, I probably would have been. My focus would have been in a different spot. Wouldn't have been as whatever on time with my dad, and that was a very important growing up. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, makes sense timing wise, but it still is a thing that I want to be conscious about just moving forward about like almost appreciating failure because anytime I've failed, it's led to me doing something that I never would have done if I didn't fail in the first place. Like, and what's happened in my case is I failed so much that I just keep trying new stuff that it's almost like trying ice cream flavors and you keep trying flavors that you don't like. And so you end up just trying the whole damn like ice cream thing. And now you like have tried everything. Like, that's kind of what I want to do with life is just try a lot of different stuff so that I know what I like and what I don't like. And I'm kind of in the perfect position for that because since you don't feel anything, what do I really have to lose? Like genuinely, if anyone doesn't have anything to lose, it's probably me. So I'm like, okay, I'll try and do all that stuff because worst case scenario, I'm in the same spot I am in no matter what. So it's like, well, so it's like, what I mean, what do I care? So that's kind of helped a ton. And what's funny is I feel like life and all that stuff has taken full advantage of that by putting me in these situations where I'm like, oh, this can't get any worse, and then it gets worse, and then I'm like, oh, this can't get any worse, and then it gets worse. But because of the fact that I've already lived in this for like however many years, I'm like, you know what? Might as well go through it because I'm in here. I'm not gonna give up now. I mean, I'm already too far deep. It's been like 5 years, so like it's not gonna stop anytime soon. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just noticed that when you kind of ignore failure, or not ignore, but like ignore like when you stop letting failure like take you down and you start trying stuff, sure, you're going to fail a lot more. Like, that's kind of how it goes. But you're also going to learn a lot more about yourself and grow a lot more and probably meet people that are a lot more like yourself because you're doing things that are actually more like yourself versus what you're doing. And it's one of those beautiful things that just comes with taking a leap of faith and doing the scary stuff that no one wants to do. But eventually, when you do, you're like, oh, I should have done this all along. That's kind of what it is. So, hey, don't let failure hold you back to try new things. Hey, worst case scenario, it all goes an explosion and it's over. But whatever. Worst case scenario is not the dude. Am I even like I was gonna say worst case scenario is not the worst case for me because I'm like I'm kind of chilling with this life thing. Like, I'll just do whatever. But yeah, I was supposed to end this like a few seconds ago. But yeah, hope you guys have a nice day. Love you. Peace out.